Okay, so before we continue, um, just a reminder and tip. Before you use the brushes, for example, I'm going to use the brush. Before you use it, you add a layer there, and then you use your brush. You apply it. Even if you're going to do something, a new stroke or another, if you are unsure, or even if you are sure of what you're going to do, I'd always suggest to add a new layer. Why? Because if you change your mind, or you made a mistake, or you need to redo it, or you don't need what you have created, you can easily hide it. Or, best, you can easily delete it. Yeah. Because the layers are better off, are better to use than having undos, or using the undo control Z with this one, the undo command. Okay? So that is a better way of doing things. You just have to discipline yourself that whenever you're going to do a stroke, and if you're not sure, or even if you are sure, you just add it on a new layer. Okay, so take advantage of the layer. That is very useful. So now we proceed to the next tool, and the next tool is the pen tool. Yeah. Because earlier the brush tool is a tool that you can use, or that can be more maximized in use if you have a stylus pen or tablet. Okay, but what if you don't have? It's like what we've talked about earlier. So we still have other alternative tools that you can use. For example, if in Toon Boom Harmony you have your Polyline tool, in Photoshop you have there the pen tool. The pen tool is the same as your Polyline tool. So letter P is the shortcut. So as I click and do a series of clicking, remember I'm just clicking, I am creating what? I am creating there angled, pointed lines, crooked lines. That is what a series of clicking, just clicking, will result into. Now, for me to stop creating those lines, I will hold Control and then I will click. Once I hold Control and click, I will stop creating lines. And if you see this, this means the paths are deactivated. They're not active. Why? Because you cannot see their anchor points. So that's a sign that the paths are not active. If they're not active, you cannot select them. So what do? You can hold Control and click to so to reactivate the paths so that I can reactivate. And since they are active or reactivated, look, the points are coming out. We call this the control points. Control points, these, allows you to reform or redraw your paths. Holding control and clicking on an anchor point, that will allow you to move it, reposition it, as per your requirement. But if I hold, sorry, but if I click here without holding the control, let's say I will just click, no, not holding any control or shift or anything, no keyboard or no operands, I will just click this. See, it becomes a minus sign. So that means if I click that, the anchor point will be removed. So that's how you delete an anchor point. You just hover over it and click. But if I am to hover over a path, so this is a path, this is the anchor point, this is a path. If I hover over a path, a plus sign appears. That means I can add a new anchor point. But whenever you add a new anchor point, as you can see, there are two extra dots coming out. What are those? So let's find out. Holding control and clicking this new anchor point that I have also created, I will drag it, still holding the control, and you will see these are the tangents. The tangents, as you can see, they produce curves. As long as the tangents are out, curves will be present. To move the tangents, still I can hold control and drag them. So that's what they do. Holding control, clicking them. If I holding out and clicking one of the tangents will result in there an individual movement of tangents. Because earlier, as you move, as I've shown you, the tangents are like mirroring each other. Whenever you're holding control and click a tangent, it will just mirror the other. But if you're holding an alt and click a tangent, it will move independently, separately. Okay? But the question is, what if I don't want the tangent? I would like to bring it back to an angled line. Holding Alt once more, but this time you click on your anchor point. Holding Alt key and then anchor point. So after that, it's been put. Okay, so that's what your Alt can do, and that's what your Control can do. And this is how you deduct or remove an anchor point. Okay, so this is your path. The good thing about this is that the path is saved. You can have the paths here. See, I can turn them on and off. They have their own path stub or layers of path. Okay, so that's how useful the path can be. Okay, yeah. So I hope you get the path, because we will be combining them later on with our brush tool as we continue with this lesson.